Hey friends, this is Steve. I'm checking in with you with Bass Musician Magazine. I saw that we recently did a little trip out to NAMM show again this year, as always, and we stopped by a booth with the Nightwalker bass guitar preamp. I have one of those that I got a couple months back, and I want to do a little review on it because I feel that it really makes a difference in the sound of my solid state or my analog amps. So what I have here, and let me give you an amp rundown, so let me do a little flipsy thing here. Here we have, I'll show you, this is the Nightwalker preamp. We can see that we have a volume, high frequency, low frequency. We can actually send it out to two different amps. We have a balance bi-amp switch. We also have an overdrive switch that Cliff talked about. I think the overdrive switch, it makes it just a little bit brighter. It's a really nice option. I'm going to run this through the Quilter, that Bass Block 800. I'm going to run it through the Phil Jones D400. Both very different sounding amps with different, really different sounds. And I'm going to run it actually through the C4, the Compact 4 here from Phil Jones. Over here I also have my Demeter head with my Compact 8. Really the Demeter is a really great a really great amp. It has the tube preamp section in it. This, in a lot of ways, when you compare the tone of these two devices, it really offers you a really unique, different approach. So if you already have a solid state or a digital switching amp and you want to just change the tone a little bit, this may be the way to go. Versus jumping out and doing the whole Demeter thing, because that might set you back a little bit. It might not be the tone that you want all the time. However, it is a really great little amp. So great amp, great power amp, great everything. So now what we're going to do is, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up, and we're going to do it with the Quilter first, and then we're going to run it through the Phil Jones back through the C4, which is 4 5-inch drivers inside here. If we all know Phil Jones, we know that Phil makes probably the best bass cabinets in the world for true definition and tone. That's why I go to him. All right, so let's giddy up and let's try this out. All right, guys, so we can see that I have currently the bass block is set up. So I don't have the preamp running into it. This is just to set the tone so you can kind of hear what the Quilter is without the preamp section being added to it. And I'm going to run it directly into, I'm not going to run it in through the bypass, through the effects return and bypassing the preamp. I'm going to run it right into the same spot that I'm running the cable in currently, which is in the, I'm going to run it into the active passive input. So I'm just going to play just a generic bass line just so we can get the idea and hear what that sounds like. So I'm going to go. So that is the Quilter without the preamp section. Okay, so now we're back. So what I did do now is I've actually put the Quilter, left it where it was, and now what I did was I put in the preamp, the Nightwalker preamp, into the loop. So now I'm currently running in here, that's my input, and then I'm running out the low frequency out. This is your mono out. So if I was running into 2 amps, I could actually run out high frequency, and then you can see that I have a high frequency and low frequency switch with a bi-amp option. Now I kept it at the same setup that I had before on the Quilter, and now the Nightwalker is in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play that same bass line again so that you can hear it now, the Quilter with the Nightwalker preamp added. One more time. So now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to do it with the Phil Jones D400. So this is a 300 watt amp or 200 watt amp, somewhere in there. Great tone on its own, and we're going to try that. So I'm going to take the mute off now. Currently, like I said, the Nightwalker is not engaged. It's not in the loop at this time. This is just the Phil Jones. I can turn the volume up a little bit on that so you can hear that. Okay, so we got that. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to run same bass line that we did before, so we get that tone. Okay, next up, let's put it back in the loop. So the Quilter is out, the Phil Jones is still in, and I currently have the Nightwalker preamp back in the setup. We can see it up there. The cable is running directly into the same spot before. It's running into the input. I'm running out the mono frequency into the D400. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the same bass line again. Let me just get that level set. Good. I'm going to play that same bass line again, just so we can hear it. Simple bass line. I like the way it sounds. I like that it adds a little bit of a darker tone to whatever you're playing. I'm currently running through a passive bass with flat wounds on it. My M bass, which is basically in the realm of a P bass. So if you are using this for session work or live work, this is it's a great little preamp. So you have that. Very nice sounding preamp. It's very musical. Now, one of the things that you can do with it, and I've actually done this, is that you can take out that 12 AX7 tube that's inside there. There is a, let me put this on mute. Let me show you. So underneath, there is a little trap door that we can see right there. There's a trap door that allows us to get into the tube. And if you want to, you can actually swap that out. I did put a 12 AU7 tube in there. And the 12 AU7 tube, I found, warms up the signal quite a bit. It makes it a little less gritty and a little more musical. And I talked to Cliff about that, and check make sure that's okay. And he said, yeah. I showed it to him, and he's like, yeah, that's really cool. I do like the AU7 because I let the amp actually carry the weight of the output. I'm not overdriving the preamp, so it is a really nice little musical preamp. The price point, I guess, is around $750, $800. Cliff is out of Las Vegas, so it is made in the USA. I leave you with this. The Nightwalker bass preamp is a really nice sounding amp. It sounds really good. I would recommend putting it into your mix. It has a great sound. It feels good. It sounds good. It is good, right? So why not make it part of your regular routine? I have noticed that when it does come, it did not come with a bag. So I actually had a little case floating around. Let me pull this out real quick to show you guys. I had one of these that I got a long time ago from the Low End. And this thing works great for transporting any small, tabletop preamps around, because you can pretty much spec it out inside. I don't know where you'd get one of these, but that is one thing that would be nice to see it come with. Would be a little gig bag for it, because it doesn't rack mount at this moment. It looks like it could be. You'd have to talk to Cliff about that, but I just throw it in the box. The box goes in with everything else, and I stack everything else inside my Groove Gear bag, which is my stadium bag, which is awesome. But this is Steve checking in with you. Definitely check out the Nightwalker bass preamp. It is a very musical little preamp to add to any amp that you're using. It'll just give it that extra push over the top. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend M-Bass, always Phil Jones, always Demeter, always good stuff out there. It's all good. So, guys, this is Steve again, checking in with you, Bass Musician Magazine. I hope you guys are out there enjoying life and playing a lot of bass. Peace, love, and low notes, and hope to see you out on the streets.